about this car, but this is the aftermath of Beaton. The car's been home now for about 2 weeks. I've now got it filled with scrap. I'm going to take it to the scrapyard. I took second. Let's explain to you what happened is my throttle cable broke. It actually popped out just to there. I ended up sitting on the hood and then just driving it back to the trailer with the hood. Now, the Buick, it's got a very, very thick frame at the front of it. Like you're talking what? 3x4 there. It didn't move, but I didn't really use the front end, the whole derby. It's got a good solid steel subframe, and it really kind of, honestly, Beaton's just a mud pit. You can't lay any good hits down. The downside about Buicks is they have aluminum spindles. You can change them out by swapping to the older Buick, which is like 91 to 98. They'll bolt right in, but I didn't do that. I ran the aluminums. The back end goes down hard on these. I even notched it and kind of pre-bent it to go up, and it still went down. I had to back up to a tree and pull it out. I went into the finals with no rear bumper, but all in all, the car was good. Rear suspension's all steel, but the links do bend, as you can see right there. But it drove great. I could have got another round out of the car, but honestly, I didn't really want to. Beaton's kind of like a very, very bone stock show. So you can bring a car there that's not good anywhere else and still win. You just have to bring something that's good in the mud. Like, I'm talking like the whole time I was dragging frame rails, and like, look how high they're off the ground. You can see the mud, and this thing's been sitting in the rain now for 2 weeks, and you can still see the mud on it. It was unbelievable. I had to stop twice during the derby and clean the mud out of my face. The girlfriend did go, but the aftermath of her car's already up. If I was to run one of these in a bigger show where it's not just a mud pit and it's got a solid foundation, what I would do is I'd definitely run the donuts. I'd pre-bend it and I'd weld the trunk. I think if you weld the trunk and kind of tuck it, it would help it out a lot with a notch. If you get that trunk to come up, these cars are pretty good. And a bigger show, obviously, you'd switch to the steel spindles and maybe don't run aluminum rims. Doubles and like maybe safari rims with weld-ins so they have a little bit of a bigger grip on the ground. But maybe a better bumper. But honestly, the rad support in these things, like this is where your motor mounts to. And most GM cars where the motor mounts to that, it's kind of weak. But this one here is really strong. Like, I just lifted this car onto the trailer with one chain wrapped around there. And there's no dent, well, maybe a small dent right there. But the motor mount section of this car is unbelievably strong. I'm actually maybe thinking about cutting that off and using that as a bumper, maybe. I don't know. But it's a good car if you prep it correctly. The motor will run forever. I went the whole derby without popping the rad. The sheet metal's kind of thin. Like, I didn't run any braces on the inside at all. But what I did to the car, all I did was gut it. Window bar. I didn't even, like, that's my extent of doing my door shut, was that. Trunk was not even welded. Trunk just had like 4 straps on it. And but like I said, if you can stop the trunk from going down on these, they're good cars. And like, they come in pretty flat. You'd have to spend a little bit of time. Like I said, the older spindles swap right out, so that's the first thing you have to do with these is get rid of the aluminum. The aluminum is no good. One hit, aluminum done. But it was a good car. I have no complaints. The cat off this car in Ontario, Canada is worth about $110, and it basically covers the cost of the car if you can get them cheap. Like, this is a 2001, and she still runs great, everything. So, yeah, that's my review on this car, boys and girls.